Hey party people, it's Maud again. Thanks for coming back to my channel. We're going to talk today about this really cool project that I worked on this past summer. But first I want to go back and explain this other project I've been working on, so catch up, stay with me here. But 2 years ago I was fortunate enough to work on putting together this festival called Mermaid MegaFest. Look at all the mermaids we have on the pier, it was so cool. We were on the news, it's Channel 8, that was exciting. Going on the news for the first time was only a little nerve-wracking. There were my friends all dressed up like mermaids. But yeah, we threw together this Mermaid Festival in South Haven, Michigan. I was lucky enough to be on the board for that and I had a really great experience. And the second year of the festival, a local businessman from the Best Industries, Mr. Best himself, came forward and wanted to work on a new project for a mermaid tank. You can see the beginning pieces there. Putting it all together, the sparks were fun. So he made this mermaid tank, and it's his tank. It doesn't belong to the festival at all, but he wanted to use it for the festival. You can see it getting put together there, and it was just so cool, you guys. Like, the whole idea was so cool. I believe at the time it was the largest portable mermaid tank, or a tank of its kind, in North America. And he was building it so we could have mermaid performances in the tank and take it around town and such. So you can see it being filled with water there, being pulled by this giant monster of a truck. It was so cool getting it around. You see him filling it up for the first time, and the cool lights they had set up inside that thing. Oh my god, it was so much fun. There it is in the sunset. It's so pretty. And then we had, that's Sarah Grimmer from, I think, Channel 17, and that's the Aqua Mermaid Performance Group there. I hate ladders. This is important to the whole story. Okay, it's not a weird interjection. It's important. This next picture will explain. Getting into this tank to paint it, 2 ladders. Lots of balancing. I had to start doing yoga. It was crazy. But yeah, so the owner of the tank, Mr. DeBess, approached me and asked me to paint a mural in his tank, which was really cool because, complete honesty, I'd never made a mural before. I've been painting for more than a decade. I'm pretty good at that. I'm a professional. I've got a lot of experience. But when it comes to murals, I've never broken into that before, and it's still a little different. Everything's just a lot bigger. Same basic idea, but larger. And I was so passionate about this festival, and I was so excited about this tank, and I've always wanted to paint a mural. So when he approached me, I was like, oh, you bet. Like, that sounds awesome. So I filmed myself doing it because I wanted to share with you guys, and I kind of wanted to reflect on my own experience and see how I built this and what I could do better, because again, this was a learning experience for me. Very pleased with how it came out. You can see I'm starting with some brighter colors there. I always start with my bright colors and work to my dark colors when I'm doing any sort of gradient, experimenting there with the brush. And I'm doing that because the paint I'm using here on this project is way different than anything I've used before. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I primarily work in oil paint when it comes to my fine artwork. I teach in acrylics. I'm comfortable with acrylics, but when it comes to that sort of refined touch, when I'm making something really, really nice, when I'm doing my commissions, that sort of work, I always use oils. So this particular mural, we're using acrylic paint. And we're doing that not just because it's cheaper to buy in bulk, but because we needed pool paint. Because obviously this is a mermaid tank. It's going to be filled with water by the time it's done, and it's going to be filled with, I assume, chlorinated water. I know if you ask the mermaids in charge of this tank, there's all sorts of stuff that goes into keeping the water nice and clean and correct, but special water goes in this tank, so just straight up acrylic paint wasn't going to work for us. So we have mermaid paint. We have pool paint. Now the pool paint, when I looked into it, it only comes in black and white, and I believe a couple of shades of blue, which were not the shades that I actually wanted. I think like this royal blue. I'm not a royal blue fan. So what we did, shout out to the local Menards, we went to Menards and asked for tint, which I'm sure was a really bizarre request, and they were super patient and lovely with us. So thank you guys. If you see this, just thank you. You were great. And they gave us a bunch of different colors of tint, or we purchased a bunch of different colors of tint. We paid them. You can see them. I have them all spread across the bottom of the area there. If you see those little containers full of bright, bright colors, that's not paint, that's tint. And then I'm mixing my tints in with the pool paint to make the colors that I want. So that was a really different way of painting for me. Like, everything is mixed with either white or black, so you're really working with shades instead of true vibrant colors. And as you may know, if you've seen any of my work before, vibrancy is kind of my thing. I like those bright colors. They're magical to me, and in my head, why would you make something, why would you go through the stress and effort of painting something and making artwork if you're not going to make it the most beautiful thing that you can? And to me, beauty is vibrancy and color and fun. So had to go a little outside my comfort zone with this, because again, it's all mixed with black or white, so it's all going to be a bit of a shade, a little bit toned down. Can't get those super bright colors without just putting straight tint on the wall, which I could have tried. I mean, I could have done that. Oh, look at that jump. I must have forgot to record for a little bit, yay me. But putting straight tint on the wall probably wasn't going to be a good idea. The tint's not waterproof, to my knowledge, and I didn't want the color coming up when they filled it with water again, so you know. You got to be careful with that. You can see me getting up and hopping back into the tank. I had to schedule my bathroom breaks very particularly throughout the day. I was afraid of popping out of the tank and getting back into the tank without someone there to watch me. I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but the top of that tank, like that top ledge, is about 20 feet off the ground. Because not only is this tank, like, I don't remember how tall. I could go look it up. I'll put it in the comments or in the description below. But it's on the bed of a truck. You saw the truck driving it around earlier in the video. It's sitting on the bed of that truck inside the barn where it's stored. So it's a fair distance off the ground, and I was afraid if I tried to get out on my own, me being the super graceful person that I am, that I could possibly fall and hurt myself, and I didn't want to do that if there was no one there to like watch me just in case. So fortunately, Brad, who is another member of the board for this Mermaid Festival, he lives close by, and I would just text him anytime I needed to use the restroom, or if I needed him to come out and watch me so I could get up or get down. And he would come out and just spot me, I guess. That's how I would phrase it. He'd spot me so I could get up and get down with safety. And nothing ever happened. I was fine, but it was not my favorite thing, getting in and out of this tank. But it was worth it. It was worth it. And I guess that's another obstacle that I ran into learning how to paint murals. And in the few murals I've done since this particular mural, there's always some sort of physical obstacle. They're either really, really large and you need to get ladders and you need to get scaffolding, or you have to climb something to get in there, or just interesting places people want to put murals. There's always a little bit of an extra hurdle. You gotta level up your art skills and throw some physical skills in there too. It's gotta start working out, which is fun. And I work out a lot. Like, that was another interesting thing. I would come in off of back day and have just an absolutely wrecked back. It was really sore, it was really shaky, I was really proud of myself, and then I'd get halfway up that ladder and have to like pull myself over the ledge of this tank with just my arms, and had a lot of regrets. But you can see I'm starting to work on the koi fish now. Brian DeBest, the gentleman again who commissioned this mural, was really fond of koi fish. And I do believe he's got a couple of koi fish ponds on site. He's putting together a little water park out there. And so it was like thematically relevant to the rest of his space and his work, and where he'll be using this tank outside of the festival. You can see I'm using references there. Just Googling pictures of koi fish and using them as reference. And most of my work, I do a lot of animals. And I almost always start with a reference. But I always end with something that looks quite a bit different than the original piece. Because adding some color and magic to things is what I do, you know? Like, again, and I've said it before, but what's the point of making something just like it looks in a picture if you already have the picture? You want to make something that's extra and a little bit more magical and worth the effort. But that's just the way I think about it. There's plenty of people who like making realistic looking things, and that's their jam, and I'm not judging them for that at all. Just not what I do. What am I doing here? Oh, yep, we're going on the side there. And I'm sorry, the nature of this painting, the nature of the mural, it's on 3 different walls, and it's hard to see all 3 walls at any given point. It's just about impossible no matter what. So I adjust the view here a few times, and hopefully you guys get a pretty good idea of what it looked like by the time it was done. have a permanently stuffy nose, so I'm sorry if I'm sniffling all over. But they're continuing to do more koi fish. And by the time I'm done, you can kind of see there's some koi fish I spent a lot of time on that I made really realistic and detailed. And then there's other koi fish that are supposed to be in the distance that don't have as much detail. And that's something that I learned through my work in painting and in kind of exploring impressionism and that sort of thing. But if you put all of the detail everywhere, people don't have anywhere to look, you know, there's no really special points and nothing pops out at you anymore. So I usually pick a couple of spaces or a couple of spots to put that detail, and then I add some things or some spaces or some animals or what have you, some repetition and pattern in places where that detail doesn't exist. And in my classes when I'm teaching, people are kind of afraid of that. They're like, oh no, this looks like a blob in the distance. This doesn't look like a tree. This doesn't look like a deer. This doesn't look like whatever thing they're trying to make it look like. And I always have to convince them, you know, hey, slow down. You don't want them all to look realistic. That's going to be distracting. And it usually comes out pretty good. So, you know, learning moment there, I guess. I guess I could tell you guys a little bit more about the festival we put together out there in South Haven. I believe in 2018 was the first festival we did. Again, it was called Mermaid MegaFest. And back then what we did is we were trying to break the Guinness Book of World Records for the most mermaids in one spot. And technically we did. I believe the record was around 200 before, and like, don't quote me on that, I could be wrong, I should really go look. And we ended up having 300 some odd mermaids. I think our final count was 316. And again, I could be wrong. It's been a couple of years, but we broke the record. However, jumping through the actual hoops to verify that we broke the record was a bit difficult. Guinness wanted us to hire a judge for like a lot of money. It's a lot of money to have a Guinness judge come to your event. You guys, it was a lot, and we were a nonprofit. We just didn't have it. So we tried to jump through the hoops they had for people who didn't get a judge, and there were a lot of them, and we're still kind of in the process of doing that. We definitely broke that record. We definitely had that many people. We counted it like 3 or 4 different ways and 3 and 4 different times, and we have all that in the books, but they're being a little difficult about it, and that's okay. That's their thing. But we were still really proud of what we did, and we got a lot of people down in that beach. We had a lot of little kids and families and adults and out there dressed up when they would never do something like that, and that was really cool to see. That was a lot of fun. And you know, it's an entire festival. It wasn't just the group down at the beach. So we had like a flotilla, like a boat parade. There was a marketplace full of vendors that were mostly mermaid themed or local artisans and vendors from the South Haven area. We're big on local people. I had a lot of mermaids from around the country and the world even come visit. Hannah Mermaid, if you guys are familiar with her, she came out and took part in our mermaid count and did a couple of other things with us, which was really cool. I was a little sad. I myself I used to be at least a mermaid person, you know, like I used to dress up like a mermaid all the time for my fun LARPy stuff. I had a mermaid character, I had a tail, I obviously have the mermaid hair, and I did all that. And when I first got involved in the festival, it was because I was crazy about mermaids. And something I learned about running a festival like this is if you're gonna run it, you're not gonna really have a lot of a chance to go enjoy it or be a mermaid or do mermaid things. So I didn't really get much of a chance during the festival itself to mermaid about, but it was totally worth it. I have no regrets. It was a lot of fun. Just the experience of running something like that was new and different and exciting, and I'm definitely thankful for that opportunity. So it was worth it. I can do mermaiding stuff later. So thanks for coming back to my channel, you guys. Please like, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification button. If you're interested, you can also follow me on Facebook, on Instagram, and I have a Patreon that I use that helps me make these videos, helps me continue to paint. I would really appreciate you considering supporting my Patreon. Thank you to my supporters who are already there. You guys mean the absolute world to me. I cannot overstate how much you've changed my life and how much of an effect you have on my ability to continue to paint and be creative and to do projects like this. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Thank you for coming back, and thanks for watching.